I see that we're now streaming live on YouTube, so I'll bring this meeting to order. And the first order of business is I want to do a roll call and just say here, so everybody can unmute for a minute so you can just answer right away. I'll ask Councillor Van Betju.
Present.
Councillor Janke.
Present.
Councillor Corrigan.
Present.
Councillor Richards.
Present.
Councillor Morissette.
Present.
Councillor Mickle.
Present.
City Clerk Richter.
Present.
City Manager Warren.
I'm present.
Director of Engineering Wilkinson.
Present.
Director of Finance Miss Al.
Present.
Communications Coordinator Tenbolt.
Present.
Can I have a motion to allow remote electronic council meeting, please?
Make that motion, Your Worship. I move that City Council suspend the rules of order as set out in the Weyburn City Council Procedures Bylaw to allow for City Council and City Administration to participate in the regular meeting of City Council this 11th day of January 2021.
This is Councillor Mickle, and I second that motion.
Discussion? Is each of you in favor? Councillor Van Betju? Yes.
Yes.
Councillor Janke?
Yes.
Councillor Corrigan?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Morissette?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Next, motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting and strategic planning priorities meeting held on December 14th, 2020. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Corrigan?
So moved.
Seconder?
Your Worship, this is Councillor Morissette, and I do second that motion.
Discussion? And again, we'll go down all the way through all the councillors for a yes and approval. Councillor Van Betju?
Yes.
Councillor Janke?
Yes.
Councillor Corrigan?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Morissette?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Additions to the agenda. City Administrator Warren, any?
There's no additions from administration tonight, Your Worship.
From council, members of the council, any additions? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Item 5, Reports of Standings Committee. Police Commission, Councillor Van Betju.
Thank you, Your Worship. The regular meeting of the Weyburn Police Commission was held in the Administrative Boardroom at 4 p.m. Tuesday, December 15th. First item on the agenda was Board Chair appointment. At the November 24th, 2020 Police Commission meeting, it was decided to bring the item of appointing a new chair to the Board of Police Commission at this meeting. Moved by Councillor Van Betju and seconded by Councillor Eamon that effective immediately, Board Member Ron McCormick be and is hereby appointed as the chair for the Weyburn Board of Police Commissions. This was carried in unanimously. Additions to the agenda, board and committees, Councillor Van Betju, and discussions on media, Councillor Van Betju. There is no correspondence. Mayor's report. Chief Blunden provided the mayor's report and stats data for November 2020, which included the 5-year average. Chief advised the implementation of the business plan will be ramped up and working with City Public Relations Coordinator on this for January. Councillor Richards inquired of stats around follow-up arrests, and the chief advised he will include that beginning in 2021. Accounts payable report was provided by the chief. Budget comparison report. Chief Blunden provided the budget comparison report to November 30th, 2020. Revenue and expenses were under budget for a net surplus of $8,000. Still to be received a grant from CTSS in the amount of $60,000. Check stop from December 7th, funded by SGI to bring in extra officers for the overtime. Chief Blunden provided the CSO report for November 2020, and Chief Blunden provided the bylaw officer report for November 20th. These reports were accepted as presented. In new business, after the meeting is being adjourned, City Councilor Mike Wager attended and provided Deputy Chief Brent Vandesype with the oath of affirmation as Deputy Chief for the Weyburn Police Service. Boards and committees, Councilor Van Betju inquired if all members at large wish to continue on the Police Commission in 2021. All members were asked, if unsure at this meeting, to advise the board chair by December 31st. In communications, the board discussed consistent messaging and the flow of information between the Weyburn Police Service and the City of Weyburn to ensure proper messaging to the public. Motion was made to move in camera at 3:37, and at 4:25, the commission moved out of closed session and the meeting was adjourned. You were to make a motion to accept this report?
Yes.
Your worship, it's Councillor Richards. I'll second that.
I believe we are going to just make one motion to accept all the reports, because we have, in addition to that, we have our cash activity report, building department report, and the fire department report for November and December. So that will be the motion.
All right.
Second by Mr. Richards.
Yep.
And any discussion?
Your worship, I have a couple questions I'd like to ask.
Sure, go ahead.
Councilor Van Betju, we have a new board chair. Is there a reason why we have a new board chair with the police commission? And my second question is, you asked how many people of members of large would remain the same. Are the same people going to be there for 2021?
Thank you, Councillor Mickle. I'll let the past board chair explain his reason for stepping down.
Again, as you know, my youngest son was hired on. He went through the whole process and passed everything. And with that, just so that there was no perceived conflict of interest, I decided that although the mayor, according to the Saskatchewan Police Act, is still one part, and two councillors are still one part of the police commission, you don't have to be the chair. The mayor doesn't have to be the chair. So that there's no perceived conflict of interest, I just stepped away from being board chair and just will remain on the board as such. And as far as your second question, Mr. Mickle, that all of the people have now confirmed that they're going to remain on there at this present time for the next year. And then at the end of the year, that's when I believe we're going to be asking for changes, and just to keep everything fresh and keep going from there. Just as we're going to do with all the other, just as we're going to do with all the other council members too. We're going to have a shift around a lot of the times just to give everybody a chance to have a change up and a new work position and new outlooks on things.
Thanks for your comment, Your Worship.
Okay. Any more discussion? No discussion. We're moving ahead to number 6.
Excuse me, Your Worship. Sorry.
Pardon me. Yes, we have to have a vote. Yeah, I forgot about the vote. So we ask all those in favor. Councillor Van Betju?
Yes.
Councillor Janke?
Yes.
Councillor Corrigan?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Morissette?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Now, moving forward, motion for accounts payable. Do we have a motion, please?
Your worship, I will make that motion.
Do you have a seconder, please?
This is Councilor Mickle, and I'll second that motion.
And do you want to read the motion? Do you have the motion, please, Councillor Corrigan? Do we have a motion there? Danette?
Yeah, certainly. I can read it for you. That the purchase is in the amount of $1,905,426 from December 11th, 2020 to January 7th, 2021 be approved.
Discussion? Seeing no discussion. And I guess the discussion was on these accounts payable. Laura, was that check for FCM? That was included in that for our dues for FCM. That was included in this accounts payable this time, was it not?
Yeah, it's included.
Okay. And although I would like to bring that up and we'll talk about this at another point in time, I guess, and I'll leave that one live because again, my question is, although I feel this is my own personal thing and that should be talked about, that I feel at this point in time that I don't really know how much. I know that I feel we're getting stuff out of SUMA, but as far as getting stuff out of FCM, I don't know how much we're really getting out of it. I know that we were supposed to talk about this at one point in time and things kind of got put to the side, that it's a $2,700 expense each year. But this year, we're not going to any of the conventions, so we've saved a lot of money that way. So it's all very good. So that being said, that we are then moving forward. All in favor? Councillor Van Betju?
Yes.
Councillor Janke?
Yes.
Councillor Corrigan?
Yes.
Councillor Richards?
Yes.
Councillor Morissette?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Approved unanimously. We'll move to item number 7. It'll be our item 9A, the table motion for the insurance provider. So the following motion was tabled on December 14th, 2020, regular council meeting with the direction to bring back a full list of all providers of auto-pack insurance to the city. Moved by Councillor Morissette and second by Councillor Mickle, that as per the recommendation of the Finance Department, the city Weyburn licensing at an estimated cost of $70,000, continue to stay with Andrews Agency and the auto-pack business at an estimated cost of $30,000, be moved to Western Financial for a term of 5 years. Director of Finance Missile report. Step 1, Councillor Richards and Councillor Morissette will make a motion to put the motion back on the table. Do we have that motion, please, Mr. Richards?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I'll be happy to make a motion.
Okay, Councillor Morissette.
And I would second that, Your Worship.
Discussion? Call the question to ask if all the councillors are in favor of putting the motion back on the table. Councillor Van Betju?
Yes.
Councillor Janke?
Yes.
Councillor Corrigan?
Yes.
Councillor Richards? Councillor Richards?
Sorry, yes.
Councillor Morissette?
Yes.
Councillor Mickle?
Yes.
Mayor Roy? Yes. Can we just now discuss the original motion? And it doesn't have to be made again, but now that it's back on the table. But if you want to change the way this is and the terms, then we can amend the motion made here if you so wish. I noticed that it was sent out, and I'll just say that at the start that I really like the way that breakdown was set out there, where there were 2-year terms, and CAA was included in that. And did everybody like that? And I guess the original people who made the motion would have to ask for amendment onto there. Discussion? Mr. Richards, I believe that you were the one that wanted the table. Did you want to go forward with your?
I was, and I just for the I guess for the folks at home or wherever you're watching this on the internet, if the city manager maybe would like to sort of walk us through the alternative that he's put forth or that the administration has put forth on this.
Thank you, Councillor Richards. As requested at the December 14th meeting, we were asked to go back and see whether insurance providers do provide insurance. So we were asked about CAA, and we've never used them as an SGI insurer, but they can issue vehicle licensing. But they do not provide auto pack. We also went through Weyburn Security and the cooperators, and they don't offer either one of the policies. So as Mayor Roy discussed, there's some options put in place by administration looking at Andrew Agencies, Western Financial, and CAA Saskatchewan. And there's 4 options provided by administration. Option 1 is to stay with Andrew Agencies for both the vehicle licensing and the auto pack policy. 2 is to move vehicle licensing and auto pack to Western Financial. Option 3 is to alternate vehicle licensing and auto pack policy to Andrew Agency and Western Financial. And the 4th option is alternate vehicle licensing between Andrew Agencies, Western Financial, and CAA, and SGI auto pack between Andrew Agencies and Western Financial. So based on what was provided, as Mayor Roy spoke to, there was a recommendation from administration that we look at option 4. And what also the mayor talked to already is how we would like to have it set out, or how we're recommending it is set out. So from 2021 till 2023, so these are all from January 1st until December 31st. Vehicle licensing with Western Financial and auto pack with Andrew Agencies. From 2024 to 2026, vehicle licensing with Andrew Agencies and auto pack with Western Financial. And then 2027 to 2029, vehicle licensing with CAA Weyburn, and then auto pack with Andrew Agencies.
Thank you, City Manager. So from what I understand, from what you've said here and what I read from last time, the existing motion would still stand true because the addition of CAA wouldn't start until the expiration of the 5 years laid out in the original motion last month.
That is correct, Councillor Richards.
Thank you. So, Your Worship, yes, that does answer all my questions.
I was going to just say, but what didn't it in the last motion that we were going to, it was going to be like almost like a 5-year term, or I mean a 4-year term, a flip. This one, the last one that they're recommending is doing the vehicle licensing changeover every 2 years. Wouldn't you have to just amend that motion to show that
Your
option
Worship.
4? Or, sorry.
Sorry, Your Worship, it's every 3 years.
Oh, 3 years, okay.
Requested.
Okay, I thought it was 2 on there. So, yeah, every 3 years. Right. Okay. So, is that still stand then? The motion's still good? Yes.
Your Worship, Councillor Morissette, I don't know if this is possible, but I would like to amend my motion, if that's possible, to take into consideration the expertise of administration, to look at option 4, that we alternate the vehicle licensing between Andrew Agencies, Western Financial, and CAA for those 3-year terms, and alternate the auto pack between Andrew Agencies and Western Financial as set out.
Your Worship, I'd second that amendment.
Okay. All in favor of the amendment, then Councillor Van Betju,
Yes.
Councillor Janke,
Yes.
Councillor Corrigan,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Morissette,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Passed unanimously. Now we'll vote on the motion. All in favor of the motion, Councillor Van Betju,
Yes.
Councillor Janke,
Yes.
Councillor Corrigan,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Morissette,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
Mayor Roy, yes. Passed unanimously. Very good. Moving forward, we are now moving into the budget. And Director of Finance, please. Do you wish to present?
Good evening. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna share my screen so everybody can see it. Okay.
There we go.
All right. So we have the 2021 budget. Just gonna go through what it all entails and what we've calculated. We have, it's a 16-page document, the budget approach, 2020 highlights, just go through what we've completed this year. There's a few projects that are carried forward. Go through the 2021 highlights of what we have budgeted for, how the city is funded so that our taxpayers have this information, our operating, utility, and capital budgets as a whole, our departmental changes, the net operating budget, where your tax dollars are spent. It's broken down into how much each of your tax dollars, on the average taxpayer, how much is spent per department, what our base tax calculation is made up of and how it's calculated, services provided for your tax dollars. So we thought we'd give kind of a summary, some of the larger items, I guess, that we have to pay for, like the library, leisure center, those kind of things, just how much of your taxes actually go to those amounts. So our budget approach, I guess, we have a budget approach to balance the budget with the ratepayers' interest in mind so that we can have the maximum gain for the taxpayers' money that comes in. The general operating of the city is all funded through grants and tax revenue. The utility functions of the city is all through user fees. So that's all of our utility billing, the landfill, and then any capital projects are funded through those fees or through capital grants. So in 2020, our highlights are through administration, our hospital levy was $40 per resident. And the government announced that we will be getting the new hospital, and they announced the construction site for the new hospital. Another big highlight this year was our municipal election, where we elected Mayor Roy, Councillor Corrigan, Councillor Janke, Councillor Mickle, Councillor Morissette, Councillor Richards, and Councillor Van Betju. The police, their highlights were that we welcomed a new police chief, Jamie Blunden. We had the retirement this year, at the end of the year, of the Deputy Police Chief Stafford, and they swore in Deputy Police Chief Van Betju. They also just swore in 3.
You gave him a good.
Oh,
good
sorry.
You gave Mal a good
Van
promotion
Betju.
there. There you go, Mal. So yeah.
Sorry, Mal. Van de Sype. Yeah, and we had 3 new recruits that were sworn in just recently. So within fire, the capital purchases that took place were some extrication equipment, SCBA mask washer, ground radios, new firefighting hose, and a rapid intervention kit. They also replaced the LED lighting in the truck bays. Within leisure, we continued to provide funding to the regional library of $377,000. We also provide funding for programming and for the facility for the library. We provided 75,000 Sask lotteries, and we did see some major effects within leisure due to COVID within their programming and their operations. The facilities department, we have the new Spark Center going up. We had the naming of that facility. It's about 90% complete right now, so it's getting very close to being finished. They started the fleet storage facility. It's about 50% complete, so we will have that opening this year. And we did have the sale of Signal Hill Art Center, and we replaced the HVAC system at the Weyburn Public Library. Within parks, they did some reconstruction of the pathway in the creeks, planning and development, completed the official community plan. Within engineering, we welcomed a new director of engineer, Jen Wilkinson. We had the installation of the new city entrance signs. And at the airport, they had apron paving and the crack ceiling on the taxiway. The Public Works Department, they also welcomed a new employee, the Superintendent of Public Works, Todd Bedore. They replaced 9 catch basins, storm sewers, and the adjacent curbing, updated 17 pedestrian accessible ramps, completed 9 hydrant valve replacements, completed 14 manhole restorations, and they continued with our trip hazard repair program. So within fleet, we have a Vector sewer truck on order and a refuse truck on order, and we also purchased 2 half-ton trucks. And then within our utility department, the water main replacement on First Avenue Southeast is completed. The First Avenue Reservoir and Pump Station had some major upgrades. The water treatment plant had some electrical upgrades, and at the water treatment plant, they replaced the clarifier drive. The landfill saw some new entrance signs, new scale, and new disposal bins. So that was 2020. In 2021, our highlights are, within administration, there's not a whole lot of highlights. Regular business, we continue to provide funding to the Humane Society for their animal control. So within police, as I mentioned, there's a new deputy chief, Ben DeSape. They have the 3 new recruits that will be starting up. They'll be on the street, I guess, in the spring. And they have plans to purchase a new fleet vehicle. Fire has some purchases budgeted. They have an ongoing program with their extrication equipment, so that will continue. Some new pagers, rope rescue equipment, water relay valve replacement. Leisure is continuing with the same funding within the Southeast Regional Library and the Sask Lotteries, and continuing with the funding for the public library. The major item for leisure, I guess, would be the opening of the Spark Center. So that would be new programming and a new facility. So we will also see, as I mentioned before, the fleet storage building will be opening, and they will be replacing the HVAC system at the leisure center. That was scheduled to be done this year, but it did not get completed, so it will be carried over to next year. Or sorry, I guess I should say it was scheduled for 2020. It'll be carried over to 2021. So in the Parks Department, they are looking to replace the Jubilee dugouts, and they'll continue with their paving of trails, and they're also looking to implement an annual tree pruning and inventory system. And within engineering, we're going to implement our asset management program. This is regulated within the province. We have to have an asset management program, so that is underway. And they are looking to complete a study on the drainage ditch at Railway Avenue. The Public Works is looking at doing repairs to the road on Eagle Road, complete the paving of Riverfront Road, which is over by the Sioux Line Museum and Burger King. They'll be repairing the Spark Center sidewalk. They're looking to replace the traffic controller at 2nd Avenue in Souris. They're going to replace the lights, not put in 4-way stop stick. The Highway 13 bridge replacement is going to take place, and they'll just continue with our annual replacement of the sidewalks, catch basins, the storm sewers, curbing, pedestrian accessible ramps, hydrant valve replacement, and sidewalk trip repairs. So there's quite a few purchases within fleet that are budgeted. Oops. A few more half-ton trucks, the lease Packer dozer, some new mowers, pothole patch truck. The Spark Center needs some equipment, so they're looking at getting a Toolcat and a Gator, and they're looking to convert the existing garbage truck to a tandem truck, because we will be replacing it. So within utilities, including the water treatment plant, there's going to be a water main replacement on Allen Street. They're looking at doing the engineering design for replacement of lift station 3. The lagoon dredging is to take place, repairs at the First Avenue Reservoir liner, install PAC at the water treatment plant. This is supposed to reduce our THMs and HAAs. Implementation of a CO2 process at the water treatment plant, and implementation of ammonia feed system at the water treatment plant. And at the landfill, they are looking to do the engineering design for the leachate, stormwater retention, and hydrovac waste infrastructure, and develop an asbestos storage plan. So we do have quite a bit on the go for 2021. So everyone asked, so how is the city funded? So I've broken it down to our sources of revenue. Property taxes make up $11.6 million. That's 32% of our funding. Reserves are going to fund 8.8 million. That's about 24%. So the reserves are funding our infrastructure projects. It's to complete the fleet storage building, some of the utility projects, the landfill projects, some of the fleet will come out of reserves. So our fees and our charges on services is 6.5 million. This includes our fees that we receive from utility bills. Grant funding is just under 5 million. External loan funding, that is the external loan that we received for the Spark Center. That's going to be about 10% of our revenue. And investment income is 400,000, it's about 1%. So our total revenue that we're seeing come in this year is 35.9 million. So our total budget is 35.9 million. Our operating budget is 19 million. Our landfill and utility budget is about 4.6 million. Our capital budget is through general operations, meaning like the public works, leisure, police, fire, admin, engineering, is 9.2 million, and the utilities capital budget is 3.1 million. So we've just under $1 million that we're going to transfer into reserves to save for the future, but then we also have 8.8 coming out of reserves to fund some of these capital projects. So to look at how the department budget has changed, it's kind of deceiving because it does show like engineering's down 42%, but they also have a much smaller budget than another department like leisure. So how it's calculated out is it's their percentage of the total budget. So they had some huge projects last year in the airport. So now this year they don't have those projects. So now their budget changed by 42%, and they actually are in a surplus of 168,000 higher than last year for their budget. So admin, I have a note here. Admin is transferring their federal gas tax money to the Spark Center to help pay for that external loan. So the percentage change has gone down by 4%, and our dollar change is 475,000. The admin budgeted expenses so they're about 3 million. Police and recruitment, that will come from the base tax, that's 3.7 million. Fire, it will come from base tax as well, it's 1.1. Leisure facilities, Spark Center is 5.6 million. Engineering is 429. Planning is 275,000. Public Works is 2.6. Parks is just over $1 million. The fleet is 1 million. Utilities is 3.7, and the landfill is 900,000. So these are the expenses within the department. So utilities, it shows a 0 increase because we would increase our fees or we would use our reserves to make up for any extra costs. So it doesn't have an effect on taxes. And it's showing 1.8 million change. That includes like changes that we would receive from grants or from like reserves coming in. So our net operating balance, our net operating budget, this is a balance of funds that's not funded through our own revenue. So through fees, interest, reserves, this is funded through tax revenue or government grants. So it's showing how much is coming from government grants or from taxes that is going to pay for, because we get some unconditional grants that come in, so that would go into the general pot, and then with our taxes, and this would pay for each department that doesn't have its own funding. So within admin, we would receive 2.3 million from taxes, 3.2 is for police, 1 million is for fire, leisure is 2.8, engineering is 200,000, the planning is 200,000, public works is 2.8, and parks is 1.1. So overall, we receive from taxes and unconditional grants will be $13.7 million. So we have to establish a mill rate to assign to the property assessed values and for the base tax to make up this amount. So where are our tax dollars spent? So I went through and the average household, if they were to pay, if their assessment was $240,000 and they pay $1,435 in tax, municipal tax would be about $765 of this. 670 of it would be the base tax. So the base tax, so I'll start with municipal tax. So it's broken out the percentage of their municipal tax on what it would pay for each department. So the base tax makes up quite a large amount of it, and the police services is 32% of the base tax. Fire services is 10. The street and snow and sand removal, or street snow removal and sanding is 4%. So then I've calculated out for you what the base tax makes up. So base tax is your police services, fire services, snow and sand on the streets. This is going, last year it was $660, and based on the budget of what these departments have, it's going to be $670, so it will go up by $10. So the residences will see $10 increase on their base tax. So of your base tax, 69% of it goes to police services. So $460 of that will be police services. 150 of it will go to fire, and $60 goes to the Public Works Department for their snow and sanding. So services that your tax dollars pay for. So I just mentioned the base tax, what it pays for, the police, fire, and the street. So the Weyburn Public Library, if you were paying that $765 of your municipal tax, $39.51 would go towards the Weyburn Public Library. $49.93 would go towards the Weyburn Leisure Center. Crescent Point Place in the sports arena would be $86. The new Spark Center would be $20. The Weyburn Airport would be $3.62. Sidewalks and street repairs is about $20. The refuse collection is $9. Park maintenance is $78. And the new tree pruning and inventory that we are looking at doing this year is $8. So that's on a per year basis. I've broken it down per month. So you have that.
I was just going to ask Laura in this, just that you got your, there, where does the infrastructure come into, or is that just grants? Taxes never pay for any of the infrastructure on this?
No,
like
generally they,
water?
They usually don't. Some departments pay for their own, like, so base tax would pay for like the police infrastructure capital.
Right.
But yeah, either it comes from grants or from reserves from funding that we've already received.
Right, and that's where I'm talking about our water lines, our sewer lines, our water treatment plants, where I know that our utilities generate that money and it comes from reserves. I'm just talking about maybe the water lines and sewer lines. People ask about that, and the road, and again, into our roads, paving and such. That doesn't come out of the.
Paving would come from, some of the paving comes from our taxes.
Like the
that would
sidewalks
be in
and
like our
repairs.
sidewalk and street repairs.
Right.
Anything utility related would come from fees that we collect on utility billing, or it would come from grants that we receive.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so overall, in summary, our increase in our tax levy is $150,000. So that's a 1.6% increase on our tax amount overall. We haven't calculated out what it will be per household. We have calculated that base tax would be $10, a $10 increase per residential dwelling, but an overall increase, we haven't calculated that yet, as we will calculate that out with the mill rates. So it's not a huge increase this year. Based on what, like with our capital purchases and our projects, we do have quite a few, and they total 12.3 million. So that's the summary. Does anyone have any questions?
Your worship?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Your worship. Laura, I not a question, but a comment. I appreciate the amount of work that you put into, I guess, explaining to us how the tax dollars, number one, are not just the tax, let me rephrase that, how the funding to operate our city comes into the building and how it goes out. And I know that for you, this is somewhat second nature, but there is a lot of things that happen. So I appreciate your ability to tell that story as cogently as you have today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Your worship, I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Mickle.
Thank you. Maybe just, they're not really tough questions, but they're clarifications for the general public. First of all, either our city manager, Matthew Warren, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but we're going to go to the Parks Department first. City of Weyburn has 7,000 trees to look after. Our parks people are played out. In this budget of 2021, is there help for them in this process? The other question I have is in engineering. We're purchasing 2 half-ton trucks. How old are the ones that we're replacing? You can answer that. Last question I have is, the City of Weyburn gets possession of the Credit Union Spark Center at the end of March of 2021. When will it be officially opened for the public? Those are my questions.
Go ahead for those to start answering the first one.
So Councillor Mickle, thanks for the questions. I'll answer questions 1 and 3, and I'll have Jen answer your second question in regards to the trucks. In regards to the tree pruning and inventory, so those are identified in our budget, and it has been told to us from our Parks Department that we are behind on tree pruning right now, and there's a need for us to have that caught up, so we're going to do a yearly plan for that. The other thing is it's a requirement for us to have a tree inventory, which we are also behind on. So this will be a multi-year plan for us to start doing tree inventory to make sure that we have records of our trees and to make sure we can plan appropriately as we have to move forward with that. Regarding your question in regards to the Credit Union Spark Center, it says in the report that we are 90% complete. But we still have to do commissioning. There's still some things we have to purchase for that facility, the multi-sport simulators. We also have to purchase the play equipment for inside the facility as well. So for us, it's September is when the opening. So we do that in conjunction when Legacy School opens up. So we do that as a conjunction. So September 1st, or where the first day of school would be, that's when we would do the opening for that new facility.
Thank you, Matthew.
On to the next question. Jen?
Director of Engineering, Jen here. So I'm pretty sure that the vehicles we're replacing, one is a 1997 and one is a 2001. So they have definitely served a good purpose for us for a long time.
So engineering, Jennifer, I'm not, if my memory's correct, we had 3 in the budget and we cut it back to 2. Is that correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Thank you.
I have a question, Your
Go
worship.
ahead, Mr. Van Betju.
Hey, Laura, I was just wondering if you could, I get this question quite often, just explain the flat tax. And I think sometimes when we hear the presentation, I'm not sure that people understand that the commercial section and the other sections of the business do pay portion of that, those services also. So I just wondered if you could go through the breakdown of the flat tax and what it covers and how it's divvied up, please.
Okay, so so the flat tax, base tax, that's it's calculated out based on the percentage of what our residential and our condominium percentages and the tax overall. So that's 61.45%. So we take the total of those services and we times it by 61.45%. So that gives us so about 3 million, I guess. That would be charged against so residentials and the condominiums, and then the rest goes into, it's in the general, and that would go against commercial and all the other assessed categories. And then, so what we do with the condominiums and the residential, we divide it by the amount, the number of properties that we have. So we have 4,240 properties, so that's what gives us our 670. So yes, the commercial does pay for a portion of the police, fire, and snow and sand. The reason we often get told or asked, and people think that garbage collection is included in here, but it's not, and that the reason it's not in here, and it's just as an overall, is because we don't want to pinpoint it to a certain, like we don't want to have it just on residential and condo, because the other departments we don't want the other departments to have to pay for that as well. So that's why we don't pinpoint it on here. And actually the garbage collection is very minimal on within our budget, so.
Thank you.
Does that explain it?
Yeah, I think so. And the rationale behind the flat tax is that emergency service, sand and gravel, everybody in the whole city uses an equal portion of those services equally. So it's not based on the price of their property, whereas the other portion of the taxes are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your worship, I just have one more comment to make.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to thank our administration in finance. Laura, you and your team did a tremendous job of this budget, in detailed and very thorough for the residents of the city to see. It's very detailed. It'll be online, I'm sure, for people to read this or in the paper, whatever. But thanks again for your work you've done for the city of Weyburn.
Thank you. Yeah, we will have this posted on our website and available.
Worship, I have one quick question, if I may.
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Janke.
Yeah, a great report, Laura, and forgive me for asking kind of a pedantic clarification, but in the public works section, the repairs to the Spark Center sidewalk, like that wasn't an unexpected repair, correct? That was something we anticipated when we started this project?
I can answer that, Laura.
Okay.
Councillor Janke, it was something we expected through this. When the old junior high was in that area, actually the sidewalk didn't go all the way to the edge of the street, so we had to do that. So we're actually adding on sidewalk into that whole area, because before it just became into a grass area for anyone who was a former person with a junior high. And so we did expect that coming through this project.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I remember that sidewalk. Also in that section about the traffic control replacement. Now that's not a new set of lights. That's effectively a repair to the existing lights at the corner on Service Avenue by the mall, correct?
Jen, I'll let you speak to that one.
Yeah, so this is a repair. It will be ended up on new light standards. All of it will be rewired, and as well as there will be a new control box. The problem is water has gotten into it, and we've done as many repairs as we can on it, so we do have to replace some of the equipment there now. And so it's a little more detailed than just replacing some of the pieces. It will be a full overhaul.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Any further questions? Again, from all of the council, I'd like to thank all of the finance, all the administration, and all the management that put together this budget. It's very detailed. It may not be quite as glamorous as we'd say, as you're seeing a lot of to the public, that you're seeing a lot of the signs we've got and the downtown lights, etc. But this year, there's a lot of very basic movements towards the maintenance of the city. You maintain the city, it looks well, and it shows the pride of the community by maintaining and moving forward with that. With that being said, I call the question. Do we have a motion to approve the budget, please?
Yes, Your Worship. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Director of Finance, Ms. L's budget as presented.
Do we have a second?
Your Worship, Councillor Janke here. I will second that motion, please.
Call the question. Councillor Van Betju,
Yes.
Councillor Janke,
Yes.
Councillor Corrigan,
Yes.
Councillor Richards,
Yes.
Councillor Morissette,
Yes.
Councillor Mickle,
Yes.
and Mayor Roy, yes. The budget has been approved unanimously. And again, the budget can be seen by the public on the City of Weyburn website. So we move forward with 2021. It also make note, and I guess Mr. Warren can and Laura can also correct me on this one, but we hear lots of comments out of the federal government of borrowing another, what, $220 billion to pump into the economy for this COVID, a monstrous amount. So we will also see what other type of projects will be coming out of that as they, if they decide that they're going to roll out this monstrous amount of money across Canada. So we'll see where that, there could be, right now, this is what the budget is, but we could see what other type of grants that may be rolled out and wheeled out in this time to come. And I'm sure that all of the administration and all of the different departments have things that are ready to roll out if we are so fortunate to get some of this money. Moving forward, do we have inquiries and announcements? Is there anything that is to be announced or inquired? I guess the one thing is, Paige, you're here. Do you want to read this, what it was, the media release?
I can, if you prefer. The Weyburn Oil Women's, or unless the council member wants to.
Or Mr.
share the news,
Richards,
I think that's great.
you've got such a good radio voice there and probably can outdo me on the reading. You want to read that? Do you have that up in front of you?
No, I don't have it up in front of me, but I could probably get it quick enough.
She sent an email to you today.
Yes, I have it.
Okay.
It's
So
on
you
the
want-
city website too.
Yeah, it is. So what do you want me to do?
You go ahead and read it there. Do your great radio voice and present it off.
Okay, proud to announce that the City of Weyburn is delighted to announce local organization, the Weyburn Oil Women Association, Inc., as a new credit union Spark Center sponsor. The sponsorship deal with the Weyburn Oil Women will see the naming rights for one of 8 dressing rooms located alongside the indoor synthetic turf field in the Recreation and Cultural Facility through a financial contribution of $20,000 over 10 years. The Oil Women, as I think most of us know, are a group of Weyburn-based women who look to make a difference in our community. They host a lot of events, fundraisers, and all of their funds go back into the community through scholarships, donations, and volunteerism. So we are excited to have them on board. They join already dressing room sponsors Whitecap Resources, Weyburn Credit Union, and of course the Play Center is sponsored by M&P. So to the Weyburn Oil Women and all of your folks, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. The donation is greatly appreciated throughout all the community as we anticipate the opening. Any further inquiries and announcements from any of the council or administration? Seeing none, is there any notice of motions? Hearing none, I will then move that this meeting be adjourned. Thank you all for attending.